Dude, it sounds great. No, no.
Yeah, it's an unusual tube complement. Every tube is different. 12AX7, a 12AT7,
Okay.
an EL84, a 6SL7, which is a preamp tube, something you would have seen more in the 50s,
Right.
big octal preamp, and then
Right.
a 6L6.
Okay. Now this is crazy because I'm assuming that this is the reverb and whatever vibe. Is that what that is over there?
Yeah, gain stage and
Got
reverb
you.
recovery,
Okay.
reverb drive, and second gain stage.
Okay.
And then the 6SL7 is the phase inverter, and you were asking,
Yeah, because I've never seen ever a 606 and an EL84. I mean, I may be ignorant, but I've never seen those in the same amplifier.
It's a great question.
And there must be has to be a reason why.
It may be done before, I don't know, but when I was working on this, originally it had two EL84s, and that was a neat sound. It had a lot of kind of upper mid push and a really nice gradual grind as you turn it up,
Right.
which these tubes are great for. But I was hoping to get a little more bottom end and fullness and
Yeah.
power, really. So because I'm using a sort of 50s era phase inverter circuit,
Yeah.
the funky thing about this particular one is it's never quite in balance. In other words, it's feeding the tubes not perfectly in balance like
Okay.
some of the later phase inverters. Don't glaze over. just yet.
I'm not yet. I'm
Okay.
thinking.
So the thought
That's
was
my
like,
hair
hey,
burning.
there you go. Hey, why not make it even more out of balance? And now I can accommodate sort of the needs of two different tube types because these want very different drive.
Yeah.
So I kind of messed around until I was able to send each of these guys a totally unbalanced signal, which actually made them output to the output transformer a balanced signal because they were, if you drive this guy harder, the output will equal this guy driven a little less. So it all worked out, and it kind of worked out because of the deficiency of that 50 circuit, which is now, a plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do they say? If you never have success in something, everything that is a problem is their liabilities, all those things about you. But if finally you have success with something, well then your liabilities become an asset.
That's right.
Right.
Opportunity.
Opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is cool. So, I mean, I've pretty much my whole life I've just used whatever 6L6 amplifier that there is, But I'm wondering because I love how you feel that 6L6. You have that solidity. You have that kind of foundation.
Yeah, the tautness and
that,
the control.
You're kind of, you have that whole thing that if you're used to having that percussive, what I'm saying? You have that, but then you have this little sweet thing that happens on top of that as well, and I guess that must be the EL84, right?
Yeah, and in fact, when I prototype things, often I'll try, just anything I can think of. So I did make a version of this with two 6L6s.
Okay.
Before I, stumbled on the unbalanced balance, and it lost some of the juice and some of the funk and vibe. So when that kind of led to this. Stop that. I'm sorry, people.
He's just like everyone else.
It says appointment with Charlie Hunter
Oh.
in 15 minutes. So we gotta hurry this up.
I'm early. You gotta hurry up. I heard that guy's a real stickler for punctuality. So.
But in this setup, the two 6L6s was just too controlled and tight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some other things going on though is it is dropped a bit more from the Tweed, Fender 50s.
In terms of the tone stack and I like
Right.
to use a term like tone stack. Not that I know what I hear people talk about it all the time. I just see the knob.
That's right. Well, that's exactly it. And you know, there was an evolution there, and this is not really a stack. It's more of a treble roll-off, but there's some other things going on with it. But the 50s amps, what they did not do is scoop the mid-range. So you
Right.
get so much more
Yeah.
forwardness.
Yeah.
The trick is sometimes those amps can be so barky that there's not a lot of clarity.
Right.
So work
Right.
with that to keep, you know,
Right.
snap and
Yeah.
each note coming through, etc.
Well, the thing I noticed about all your amps is I have an Impala, and even that for an amp that's supposedly thunky and heavy, it still has a full range. It just it has a full high fidelity range, and that's the thing. All the amps are high fidelity in my ears. You know what's left of my hearing, so to speak. It from top to bottom, you have. There's always a fidelity. There's always a complete spectrum, and it just depends upon with Impala, you're going to get a lot more of that percussive, low mid feel to the amp. You know, if that makes any sense. Whereas the Rambler, you still get the percussion, you still get it, but there's this added kind of sweetness on the top that's
Right.
different in an
Right.
Impala amp. And this amp feels to me, just from having just played it for a few minutes, it feels like, you know, if I was playing with a drummer, it might get a little hairier. But if I were to just play with a singer and a percussionist, or a singer and a drummer that wasn't, you know,
Really loud.
gonzo
Yeah.
loud, it would kind of be perfect in terms of the ability to have both sides of the equation.
It sort of does that, and I think that's the 50s part of it, where all the mid-range is there. So that is just a lot of body,
Right.
a lot of, you know, kind of chest to the sound, but not so much so that you lose clarity.
Right.
But you know, we use, and you can see some of them in here, these aerospace capacitors.
I thought
and
you
the
weren't
power
supposed to
supply.
touch those parts of the amp.
That's-
Right? I'm not supposed
You
to.
gotta
touch
work
those
up to it. It's
parts.
like a baker. I can just stick my finger in here, it doesn't bother me. But so those have a lot of fullness and also a lot of transient
Right.
clarity, because they discharge really quickly. So when you hit a note, they're right there,
Got you.
and
Okay.
they don't kind of wallow as you do it.
Right.
And also the output transformers we use have a lot of top to bottom, really wide bandwidth.
That's what I was looking for, the bandwidth, wide bandwidth. And then the curve of it just changes a little bit from amp to amp.
But I'm gonna let's dial for a little overdrive.
Sure.
Just give me a second. It's got a built-in attenuator, so I'm turning the attenuator down and bringing the volume up. This may be.
Go, do it.
All right, so that was very nice job.
That was one mint tulip.